Saudi Cup and welcome to another episode here for the FunkyPod, Mindful Media and Communication. And I'm all excited in this episode because it's about a topic that's very much close to my heart, like most topics in this podcast, because, hey, it's my podcast. But this time it's a positive topic. It's not something to be sad or mad about. Well, maybe, because maybe it triggers your feelings that much. But I'm talking about music. Music makes the people, because music is awesome, right? I hope we all agree that if you're listening to a podcast, I assume that you also listen to music. And I'm not singing anymore, don't worry. But yeah, music is life for many people, right? It's your trusted companion in whatever happens in life. You're happy, you're sad, you're mad, you broke up, you're whatever, right? Music is always there. You're being romantic and so on. Music is always there. So how does it work? Why is music so important to us? I'm glad you asked because, hey, today it's a symphony of communication. I just made that up. I leave it in. So we're together trying to figure out this powerful role that music has. How did it happen? Okay, from like just conveying emotions to uniting cultures. And music is like this universal language that transcends words. It's crazy. You probably sing along with K-pop songs even though you don't speak Korean. Some listeners might do, and if you're self-taught, congratulations, well done. But yeah, even if you don't, you might be jiving along with Lisa and Blackpink and so on, right? So maybe you even listen to some G-pop, German pop, or G-rap, for example. If not, you should really try. It's awesome. And so let's explore how music influences communication and how it's used as a tool to convey messages. Drawing on like key media theories, as we always do here in this podcast, of course. And I'm going to use a few theories that we discussed the last few weeks. Why? Because I think that makes sense to like really drive home the point how they work. I also will have a new theory that we didn't discuss before, though. So you will also learn something new. So we're trying to reiterate what we learned already, and we add a little bit of new things. One might think I'm in education. So before I start, I want you to think about which song, if I ask you like music, what's the song that pops to your head? Like what's your song? I'm really curious. At the end, I hope you share your song with me on social media at FunkyPod on social media. That would be really cool, or just as a comment on wherever you listen to this podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever. I'm curious, like what's that one song when you're like, hey, tell me, what's the song? Because when I say music, I think about like Madonna music, but then I didn't want to sing again. But then I'm like, that song doesn't mean much to me. It's just because it has the word music in it. If I think about like which song is really close to me, I know it's like I would go for like The Sound of Silence, for example. But then I would think of like that. But I'm not always that sad. So then other songs. So it's really tough, right? So I'm curious to hear your songs. Not singing. Great song though. And I mean your song by Elton John, by the way. Okay. Let's jump into theory, shall we? Before I start rapping and singing and stuff like this. Don't forget, check out G-pop. So, why does music work? And one theory I discussed the last 3 episodes, and so I keep discussing it one more time. And then I'm going to leave it be, probably maybe one more time, but then I'm going to leave it be for a while, because I think then we talked about it enough so that we understand how it works. Media ecology. If you listen to the last 2 podcasts, you know that word already. Then you also know who came up with it, or like who was a big proponent, right? Right, Marshall McLuhan. So if you want to sound somewhat well-read in the media theory space, you just say like, oh yeah, Marshall McLuhan said this, and you're like, okay, cool, you know the most famous media scholar that there was, basically. Okay, so congratulations. So Marshall McLuhan, media ecology, his most famous statement was the medium is the message. Talked about this before. Here, yeah, one more time recapping, it suggests that the medium that we consume shapes the message. The medium is the message. And this is, I think, particularly evident with music. Okay? The way music is delivered, whether through live performance radio, you remember radio, streaming, social media, TikTok, right? It affects how the music is perceived and interpreted. And I think that's pretty critical. So the shift, right, and oh God, now I show my age, but the shift from physical albums to digital streaming has completely transformed how we experience and communicate through music. And well, for one, of course, artists now have like direct channels to the audience, which is like a more personal and immediate connection, if you will. Yeah, so for instance, platforms like Spotify, YouTube allow artists to release music instantly, which then fosters a closer relationship with the fans. I know the payment stuff, not talking about this right now, okay? Just like the interaction with the fans. However, back then, and I'm old enough to being able to say I did buy albums, not the vinyl albums, but CD albums. It's a different feeling, right? So you go to the store where they sell albums, where they sell music, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take my hard-earned pocket money back then, or like from my school student job, take my money, and I'm gonna spend, I don't know, 15 euros or something. I forgot how much it was, like for an album, to be honest, but I think around 15 euros probably. Gonna spend that for like a CD of like whatever it might be, or like I'm just gonna buy like a single, like not an album but a single, which is then like whatever 7 euros or something. I think. I'm only gonna buy the single with like 3 songs on it or something, and like, oh my God, I can't wait for this new single, for this new release. Then you physically touch it. It makes, from my point of view as an old person, that made me closer with the artist, to be honest, compared to just streaming it. Now I understand what I just said, right? Social media, for example, of course, increases that connection. Yes, true. But actually having to spend the physical money, getting something physical back, looking at it, made you like, oh, I really did. And you had to go to the store first, probably when I was a student, take a bus there, took forever. It was like this really, I spent the whole day just to get this album. Okay, so that was also a strong connection. But of course now the connection shifts, right, towards like what I just said, social media, for example, TikTok, Instagram, more a direct connection. They can send you stuff, they can release clips, they can tell you how much they love you and so on. So of course there's a slight shift there. But music has always like been like this very connecting medium, right? No matter in which form you were consuming it, but of course the way we consume it now, it's a more direct connection to the consumer. I'm curious if that, by the way, also if you agree with that, if you feel different listening to music now too, if you had that experience back then. If you're a valued member of Gen Z and you never had that experience, then listen to us old people how it used to be. Another theory that we talked about a lot, and it goes very much hand in hand again with that one, because, well, why do we listen to music? Why do we buy albums, download stuff and stream it and pay for it maybe even, right? The use and gratification. It's all about like the personal and the social functions of music. Okay, so we already know use and gratification examines like why people use certain media to fulfill certain needs they have. So now music, of course, serves like multiple functions here. It entertains, of course. It provides emotional release. You cry, you scream, you're happy, you're smiling. It creates a sense of identity. Like I'm emo, I'm punk rock, I'm whatever, into hip hop. I'm like part of that group, right? And maybe even most importantly, it facilitates social connections. And that's pretty cool, I think. Like I'm very much an introvert, says the guy on a podcast. I'm very much an introvert, but with music, you're connected. Be that like back in the day when you buy like albums and you see like people in the music shop and you're like looking like, hey, what are you buying? Oh, cool. You're going to concerts. Yeah, the only time you will see me like in a huge crowd is probably the sports event or the concert, or at a demonstration if I really believe in the cause, of course. But then like actually since I moved to Thailand, all the concerts I've been to alone. I never felt alone. And it's the only time I probably talk to a random stranger. I am happy when strangers talk to me. I went to lots of different concerts here in Thailand. be that like the Foo Fighters, be that like to some music festivals, for example, of bands I didn't know before. I saw Jason Mraz here too. I went everywhere alone, and always had a good time actually. So very, very Coldplay. I also went to Coldplay alone. Did not feel alone at all. The thing about Coldplay, I went for the spectacle. Not the biggest Coldplay fan, but I wanted to see the spectacle ones. But say what you will about those pop group fans, Coldplay fans in this case, I would assume Swifties might be similar. Are just nice. They're just so happy to be there. It was really nice. Okay, but back to the using qualification, right? So people turn to music to express emotions, right? I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm angry, whatever. To celebrate milestones. Like I did this. Graduation, vitamin B. It's vitamin B, right? C? Vitamin C? Let me know in the comments. Building communities. Right, singing about like the hood and stuff. That's the white guy. I'm sorry. But this using verification theory helps us to understand how music fulfills personal and social needs, and making this like a super powerful tool for communication. Yeah, and it's not just pop songs, by the way. It's all the things like national anthems, for example. It's also music. Protest songs, also music. So music serves to unify groups and convey collective sentiments. Last thought on this, there's a reason why every country has a national anthem. Ever thought about it? Why does every country need to have an anthem? Because freaking music unites and gives you like the sense of community. That's why. Okay. So hey, music. Okay, new theory alert. I throw it into the middle because first two we understand, but now a different setting, now a new one, okay? Didn't talk about this yet. Semiotics. Semiotics is like a very, very, I was about to say basic, but if you don't study media theories, it's not basic, so apologies for that. But it's like one of the first concepts you learn if you study media theories, and hence you can see it's quite important. Okay, so semiotics, in this case, we talk about the language of music, okay? Semiotics is the study of signs and symbols. Okay, so semiotics, study of signs and symbols. And now that I say that, signs and symbols, you understand, oh, okay, that must be very important in understanding how music communicates, because music is rich with symbols, like melodies, rhythms, harmonies. They all carry meaning beyond words, right? Meaning beyond words, okay? Now I'm thinking about Ace of Base song, I Saw the Sign. I saw the sign to open up. Shows my age as well. I give you a few examples. So first, stick with the example I had before. The national anthem conveys a sense of patriotism, unity, right? Love song can evoke like deep personal emotions. So by analyzing these musical signs, we can decode the message they convey and then, of course, also understand like cultural significance. What's a political song? Bob Dylan's like Blowing in the Wind. I know it's old, but it's a very political song, right? I think most people might know it. If not, stream it. That's an example of like how lyrics and melody combine to like deliver like a very powerful social and political message, I think. But of course, what we also see these days, right? I mean, Macklemore, just like the song for Gaza, of course, also as a very powerful political song. We also see, however, now artists playing with that to maybe even, I know, not emphasize, but to maybe disrupt a little bit the way we see this whole, the way we understand it, the way we understand signs and symbols. Because if you think of like, for example, Pumped Up Kicks, the song, right? It's a very like groovy vibe. All the other kids. A very like positive vibe, but of course, the text is everything but positive, right? So artists understand semiotics, say, hey, I'm going to disrupt this now to actually make you think about it. Okay, so like a love song, Whitney Houston, you're like, oh yeah, I'll always love you, and so on. And it carries the love in the melody as well. Songs such as Pumped Up Kicks, for example, they try to play with that and be like, I'm going to make you hum along and I'm going to make you think about the lyrics like, oh, no. What? Yeah, that's also, of course, a style choice to make the audience, if they understand it, think about the content. And so you see semiotics, very important to understand how to utilize like melodies, signs, symbols, and so on. Okay, learn something, right? Nice. Okay, I have 2 more for you that you should be familiar with if you listen to the podcast more often. But I think it's just like quite obvious how that influences music. Framing, of course, we use music to frame everything, right? So music is being used as a tool for framing everywhere. News, movies, right? The way the music then makes us feel, understand certain content frames, of course, how we perceive this content, right? If there's a love song playing in the movie theater, you're like, oh, okay, something romantic's happening. If there's like then some crazy loud music, heavy music playing, you're like, oh my God, action, and so on. And on CNN and Fox, they have like this breaking news music, for example. I don't know why I do this with my hands. I'm playing air drums right now. So music is like a narrative tool everywhere in films, news, in ads, of course, advertisements. Thailand is like, if you've never seen a Thai ad, just YouTube Thai ad, and whatever ad comes up, watch it and cry. They're so good at making emotional ads also with the music, okay? Social movements, they use music, of course, as well, just as the protests do right now, right? So music frames how stories and messages are perceived. As a just easy example, consider how a movie soundtrack, which soundtrack do you think of when I say movie soundtrack? For me, it's Armageddon. I don't know why. Not my favorite movie, but if I say soundtrack, I'm like, Armageddon. So consider how like a movie soundtrack can heighten like emotional impact. But also like Greatest Showman, great soundtrack. So how can a soundtrack heighten like emotional impact, or how like a protest song can rally people like around a cause, right? So music frames our understanding and engagement with the narrative, making it a very, very powerful medium for communication. Okay? I don't want to miss a thing. So the use of, for example, the use of We Will Rock You. You know We Will Rock You from Queen. We will rock you. I know the German is clapping because I can't clap. Germans can't clap. We clap on 1 and 3. Because we want to be first. Sport events use We Will Rock You all the time, right? For example, to like frame the environment, like energy, excitement, and so on. Now it's phased out a little bit, which I appreciate. Now, what's it called? Is it the White Stripes? Seven Nation Army is being used a lot in sport events, right? To foster this energy, like, hey, we're like in excitement, community, let's go, go team. Germany for European champions. And the last theory today is the cultivation theory. Why? Here's why. That was a reference to a YouTuber I used to watch a lot. If you don't know him, no problem. But here's why. Cultivation theory. What is cultivation theory? You should know if you listened to the podcast before. The cultivation theory examines the long-term effects of media exposure on perceptions of reality. I said it 1,000 times, right? So basically, what's the long-term influence of music? So regular exposure to certain types of music can shape our worldviews and also our cultural norms. For example, like genres like hip-hop and rock, right? The old school genres, hip-hop, rock. They have influenced social attitudes, fashion trends over decades, right? So if you look at like how music cultivates these long-term influences, helps us to appreciate the role in shaping cultural and, very important, also social dynamics. For example, I give you 2. The evolution of like protest music from, I think, the 60s to contemporary hip-hop shows like how music continuously like influence and reflects changes within society, right? You could also look at like less protesty songs, but like, of course, K-pop also influences what we listen to, the way we dress, right? So you can see that music, long-term exposure to music, has a huge impact not only on the individuals, but on society as a whole. And I think that's extremely fascinating. Okay. All right, before I sing any more, I'm sorry. I hope you got from this episode that music, it's more than just a form of entertainment. Music is life. It's a powerful tool for communication that shapes and reflects our cultural and social landscapes, okay? So by applying the theories like you did right now, we hopefully are able to understand that music has like this multifaceted role in our lives, okay? Uniting communities, conveying complex emotions. Yeah, music is this universal language that speaks to the core of human experience. Having that said, I know that would be the perfect ending, but having that said, let me ruin that ending. Great music account to follow on Instagram, by the way. There I ruined it. Ruins every music, every song you ever liked, but it's fantastic. But having that said, right, music being powerful, speaks to the core of the human experience. It's not just positive. That's why North Korea has a national anthem, for example. That's why North Korea is using like the radio to make the citizens fall in line, for example, right? So pop culture, and in today's episode we talk music, is very important in framing, in cultivating mindsets and so on. So this can be positive, and today I focused mostly on the positive, but this can also be used for the negative, of course. So please do be aware of that, okay? Last thing on this, right now, because I'm German, in Germany right now, it's a trend amongst like the a-holes of the internet in Germany, okay? Like the right-wing a-holes, AFDs people, which is the new right-wing party in Germany. But there's videos now gone viral where people are listening to Gigi D'Agostino, like a very 20-year-old song, right? A pop song. And then they were texting over it like Germany for Germans, foreigners out, which is like, if you translate it directly into German, it's like what the Nazis said back then. And so they keep singing it. And now that it went viral, like someone filmed it went viral, and like the fact that people felt okay to sing that together at an event, at a party where they were, right? Also shows that also bad messages can catch on using music. Okay, so please do be aware, be literate when it comes to media, to pop culture, to music also, that just because it's wrapped into music doesn't mean automatically it's good, okay? Music is amazing, but please do listen. Don't only look at the melody, do listen to the words and the content and the context as well. So I'm saying, okay. That's it. Let me know again your favorite songs, your favorite soundtracks. I said Armageddon and The Greatest Showman, for example. What are your favorites? Shout out in the comments on social media at funkitpod@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment and a review because it helps to reach a wider audience. And that's what we want because I'm an introvert, but I want a bigger audience. So help with that. Leave a review. Until then, I hope you learn something. I hope you go wherever you go now and sing and rap and have fun. And we talk again in the next episode. Until then, stay safe, take care. Sawadee ka.